Okay, this talk is going to be about leaky gut. We're going to go into a little bit more advanced stuff than we have before. I'm largely going by this review paper, Leaky Gut, Effective Dietary Fiber and Fats on Microbiome and Intestinal Barrier by some Japanese authors. I'll show you the exact info on the paper in a moment during the talk. One point I wanted to make, though, is some people tell me, oh, how do they respond to these paleo-keto carnivores who challenge them? And I'm just going to tell you, paleo-keto carnivores are a joke. They just have a lot of bluster. They have no science behind them. Animal foods are full of fat, animal protein. They're low in vasodilatory electrolytes like potassium and magnesium. They have no fiber. They're high in bioavailable phosphates that are nephrotoxic. They're high in acid, especially because of methionine on the animal protein. It's different than plant protein. High in sodium, a vasoconstrictor typically for flavoring or preservative. High in advanced glycation end products. You get all these gut toxins made by the bad gut bacteria associated with a lack of dietary fiber like TMAO, indoxyl sulfate, p-cressyl sulfate, indole acetic acid. They're all bad. You get more bad bacteria with glucuronidase enzyme, which deconjugates the liver excreted estrogens that your body does to get rid of excess estrogen. And so you reabsorb these estrogens and you're prone to estrogen overload type diseases like obesity, increased risk of autoimmune disease. You get more leaky gut. And this is associated with tons of diseases: inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, irritable bowel syndrome, obesity, abdominal pressure syndrome with diverticulitis, diverticulosis, appendicitis, hernias, hemorrhoids, varicocele, varicose veins, autoimmune diseases, lupus, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, systemic sclerosis, etc. Xenocellulitis, nonspecific inflammation, because you have there's an issue with sialic acids. I talked about that in a separate lecture. You get increased white blood cell count. That makes your blood thicker, predisposes to hypertension. You get neutrophil activation. That also increases your risk of hypertension. You get amyloid clotting from distortion of the fibrinogen, the blood clotting protein, by the bacterial postprandial endotoxemia. Okay. Douglas Kell and Etheresia Pretorius are the two researchers that have done the most work on that. Great stuff. You get iron overload, okay, and that causes ferrous redox cycling and amyloid clotting also. You get CKD, more chronic kidney disease, more hypertension, more diabetes, more coronary artery disease, more peripheral vascular disease, more strokes, cerebral vascular accidents, dementia, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, fatty liver, kidney stones, osteoporosis, and a bunch of other diseases. You just get tons more disease. There's no comparison. And then what about low-fat vegan? The only bad thing about low-fat vegan, low sodium, low protein, whole food, organic, no oil, caffeine, alcohol, tobacco, MJ, is that the only health problem you get is you got to take a little bite B12. It's totally, the optimal human diet. That's what you want. You feed the good gut bacteria with the fiber. They maintain an intact gut wall and blood-brain barrier. That's all good. Okay, now here's leaky gut, and leaky gut is, it's very common. The most common cause of autoimmune disease. Normal gut, you've got the good bacteria here with smiley faces. They feed on the dietary fiber. They make short-chain fatty acid, especially butyrate. Butyrate is used by the gut lining cells to make tight junctions, and that prevents leaky gut. That's what you want. That's optimal, okay? Now, if you have these things here, these things all cause leaky gut, all right? And then when you don't have the dietary fiber and you got these bad things, you'll get breakdown of these tight junctions, and then you get bacterial endotoxins like LPS, lipopolysaccharides, from gram-negative bacteria getting across the lining, causing localized gut inflammation, gets into the blood, and it'll cause amyloid clotting. It makes the blood more inflamed and more prone to clotting. It's bad. You can also get big chunks of protein being absorbed, and those can lead, of animal protein. Those can lead to molecular mimicry with autoantibody cross-reactivity. Okay, just a couple things from the paper itself. Here's the name of the paper, by the way. I'll try to get myself out of the way here. The name of the paper is Review of Leaky Gut, Effective Dietary Fiber and Fats on Microbiome and Intestinal Barrier. Author was Haruki Usada, a bunch of Japanese docs. International Journal of Molecular Science, 2021. Okay, so when you increase intestinal permeability, you get increased risk of autoimmune disease, inflammation, diabetes, hypertension, chronic kidney disease, cancer, coronary artery disease, peripheral vascular disease, all this bad stuff. It's all bad. They originally, in the back of the 1970s through 1990s, they thought of it mostly as gut wall inflammation, but later they came to realize it causes systemic disease, and they also came to realize that they could specifically type the gut bacteria with all this modern genome sequencing much more rapidly. So that also led to, and they could also sell probiotics and whatnot, and that led to increased incidence and interest in the gut microbiome, the gut bacteria. So basically, like we said, you eat the low-fat, low-sodium, high-fiber diet, you get the good bacteria. They make short-chain fatty acid, in particular butyrate. You maintain your gut wall, blood-brain barrier, your glomerular filtration barrier. That's what you want. That's all good. That's all normal. When you eat a high-fat diet, then it's going to be low in fiber. You're going to get gut toxins, all these bad ones we just talked about. Let's see what else is interesting. Oh, there is a method to test for leaky gut. Usually you don't test for leaky gut. You just see if the patient gets better when you feed them this diet. But you could test for leaky gut. There are some things you could do that are described in this paper. Dr. Clapper also talks about this and also says he doesn't usually test for it. Butyrate also protects the lung wall, the testes barrier, the retinal barrier, the eyeballs. I heard mixed things about omega-3 fat. Some said it was good, some said it was bad. All bad about sat-fat omega-6s. As far as causing leaky gut, making it worse. When you eat a high-fat diet, you secrete more bile acids. And some of these, 5 to 10% in the colon, get converted to secondary bile acids, which are associated with increased risk of cancer. So anyways, I just wanted to give you an example of a paper if you ever wanted to look up leaky gut in a paper. It's a decent paper. You know, they're Japanese writing in English, so they're not going to be the most eloquent people in the world. But it's still a reasonably good, easily to understandable paper with good illustrations. So there's the reference if you want it. Hope this was helpful.